Bit late on this one. Actually, I'm surprised I did not do a video on this sooner. It's been months. I'm pretty sure when this story dropped, it was. I want to say it was around the time that the last anime. Anyway, fuck it. I'm bored and I need to talk about this because I am really, really fucking bored. And I forgot to have a laugh at this story, but not that long ago. Well, maybe some time ago. The Antichrist of video games herself. Well, actually, that's an insult to the Antichrist. At least the Antichrist serves a purpose. Well, the Damien one, the actual term of Antichrist, that's beside the point. The Archduke of Cringe, or the Archduchess of Cringe herself, the Archdemon of video games, Anita Sarkeesian, had a wedding-themed party, and funny enough, some people were probably like having a laugh. Some people were like, man, she must really get off on the attention. I'd say it's both. Although, honestly, I have to say one thing, though, to get this out of the way. We really need to back off of Anita's personal life. To borrow from Razorfist, she's single by choice. Not her choice, but the point still stands. One of the things I thought was funny about this, though, is like, Anita reminds me of the Hasidic Jewish community in New York. This is a problem that will hopefully solve itself. The difference, but it's for a different reason. Anita, Zoe Quinn, and the Hasidics, they are all a annoyance. Mainly Anita and Zoe. The Hasidics, they're snobs from what I hear, but as long as you don't fuck with them, they don't fuck with you, and you don't live in their area. Like, they're still scum fucks, but from what my stepdad's friend told me, who was from New York and dealt with them a few times, what happens is they're contributing to the next generation. That's the funny thing about these activists is like they are cat ladies, a bit like Taylor Swift, who much like Anita. I don't get the problem. Why are we mad? I mean, her whole shtick is about picking the wrong guy in song format. But they don't have children, or hopefully they're not having children, except for Rich Johnson. Unfortunately, he has unfortunately contributed to the next generation, and I feel bad for his kids. Imagine having a sentient soy pod for a dad. They're probably going to be having some unpleasant sleepless nights. But for the most part, as far as I can tell, they don't have children, and so we don't have to worry about them passing on the cringe genetics to the next generation, and then the next generation after that. And I say this is good because we don't have to, but also, and with the Hasidics, this is also kind of true, but in a different way. They are having kids, but not with other people. They're having kids with, how do I say this nicely? Sweet Home Alabama. Yeah, and hopefully in a few generations they'll grow infertile because they sound like a cult. So that problem is solving itself. Whereas the SJW shits things, no, they're just not having kids because they are beyond insufferable. So we don't have to worry about Anita rearing children. In fact, she's almost past the point of like where she'll be able to have any, thankfully, because like imagine being the child of Anita. I was talking to my friend Dan about this earlier today. Like, imagine being this broad's kid. Like their home life would probably be miserable. Actually, Actually, no, I take that back. I remember this also shortly before I started recording. She probably wouldn't make his life miserable necessarily because she's a narcissist. Narcissists, from what I remember, they regard their children as an extension of themselves, so she probably wouldn't make them miserable. Not directly, anyway. But the home life would probably be pretty bad for the husband, assuming she doesn't meet to him not long after she has the kid. But imagine being the kid, and then you go to school, and everyone learns who your mom is. You are the crotch spawn of the evil woman who ruined video games. God help you. That's like being a player online who has the same name as the douchebag general who was the worst general in World War I and actually caused it because he was such a fuck-up. Who was the definition of insanity in Einstein terms. Actually, hang on. Let me get the guy's name one more time. Conrad von Hotzendorf. That was the guy's name. So, what was I saying? Anyway, so yeah, that would be how detestable that kid would be in school, because everyone in that schoolroom who likes video games, they're going to regard him as much disdainfully as they would that guy. Difference is he got people killed. This guy just has the misfortune of being reared by an evil bitch. Well, I'm sorry, not evil, because she doesn't have a body count, unlike a certain whore of Babylon known as Zoe Quinn. So that's the one bit. We don't have to worry about some kid going through that so awful of a childhood that it makes him deciding to self delete one day in middle school. Because I remember when I was in middle school, I was depressed constantly. There was not a day that went by where I wasn't depressed in the eighth grade. I'm not saying I was close to self deleting, to Cobaining myself, to make using my wrist to look like an edgy character from some shitty metal album, but it was on my mind. That kid will probably be worse. He will probably actually try to do it. So he at least doesn't have to worry about that. And we don't have to worry about some kid ending up that way, is my point. So that's the one silver line here. Downside, this means she's probably going to be even more insufferable because it's going to be like Jack Thompson. Difference is I can kind of respect Jack Thompson because I do believe he did believe his own bullshit. I do believe that. Don't get me wrong, he's an idiot, but he believed it, and he stuck to it. There's something to be said about that. Whereas Anita, she's like a cross between Jar Jar Abrams and Thompson. She's a bullshit artist. And actually, like all the things that most YouTubers like Critical Drinker get accused of being a grifter, I believe her to be that. Now, she admitted on a recorded video that she was not actually a gamer. She admitted this. She's just an asshole. Actually, no, I take it back. She's a jackass. At least an asshole, there's some amusement to be found. It's like I say all the time. There's an art form to being an asshole. She has perverted that art form. So she's not an asshole, she's a jackass. Or just a bitch. Which is about the nicest thing I can say about her, if I'm being perfectly honest. But, yeah, no, there's the one benefit, though, to these people is, like, a lot of them aren't having children because, well, not normally. The downside is some of the soy boys are getting girls because the ladies realize they can't get actual men because they scared the real men off. But, yeah, the toxic masculinity got scared off, women. I hope you're happy. Now you have to breed with the sentient soy pods and weak men who look like a stiff breeze could knock them over. But, yeah, no, I was afraid to talk about this when it happened. I wish I had because it actually is funny in hindsight. Because I've heard there's at least one guy I've heard who said he would do that. To which I would have to quote Reddit, just like, how do you logistically do that? Like, how do you sleep with a woman who rests upside down from a ceiling? Like, how do you logistically do that? Like, that's like trying to help Jim Sterling lose weight. It's physically impossible. Also, to help Jim Sterling not be a crazy person. The man belongs in Butler Hospital, ladies and gentlemen. The man's crazy. Kind of like Movie Bob, who is an equal piece of shit. The difference is, at least Movie Bob isn't suffering from gender dysphoria. Or, I don't think he is, although, then again, it's probably been so long since he's seen his penis, he probably doesn't remember what it looks like. You'd probably have to hire Philip Marlowe to find it. And, yeah, no, that's it. That's all I can really think to say on this. I just find it funny because these kind of activists are very insufferable people, and I take some small comfort in knowing they will probably die miserably and alone, which, in hindsight, is probably a little fucked up to think about, but you know what? Fuck it. I've never entertained the delusion of being the bigger person. I'm happy with being petty. Because they are petty. They set the standard. So I'm just playing by their rules, and they are hypocrites. Don't believe me? Look what Anita said following the Parkland shooting. When some guy Call of Duty to school in Parkland, David Hogg's worthless ass became noticed. And then Trump was saying, and I normally like Trump, but he's like, we need to be looking at these violent me as they're concerned like video games. And then Anita comes out and goes like, no, it is not. But you think it can cause men to see women as objects, Anita? Which conveniently you then ignore the fact that you could also say that about men being objectified by women. But hey, I would say I'm shocked, but hey, when has feminism ever been consistent? It's a bit like the cult of Kojima. And consistency is more of a suggestion. Anyway, have a nice day. Yama Ohid.